Hey.
Hey. Look at that. They like something different here.
We both was on mute. Yeah, we a little different. We a little different today.
Different. We a little different today.
My sister hoes, they ditched me. They together and I'm not.
No, we're just both in New York.
Us never part.
We're just both in New York.
Yeah.
Hey, New York. I'm home.
Didn't nobody invite me?
5 minutes.
Right? She said she had a business trip, and I was like, "What hotel are you staying in?" I got a Metro card. I'm coming.
Didn't nobody invite me.
Right. She was like, "I'm here. What you want to eat?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, let's go."
I ain't get an invite. My feelings hurt.
Nah, girl.
No.
The next pull up is on you.
That part, Florida, because this weather about to get cold here, so we're coming where it's still going to be nice and
Yeah.
brisk.
Listen, I'm sick of it because it was 100 degrees here yesterday.
Oh,
summer's over.
Okay, we're gonna.
I'm sick of it.
Yeah, I need all of the hurricanes to pass too because I can't do them.
We can't.
That's the thing. We haven't really been hit with the hurricanes. We've just been getting our regular Florida. It rains.
You mean your area? Have you seen?
Well, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about me here. I can't speak for them here where I am.
Because Miami is not really Florida; it's Miami,
right?
So
it's all.
I don't live in Miami. I live in Fort Lauderdale.
Right. But all other parts.
I don't live in Miami. I live in Fort Lauderdale. But yeah, Southern Florida has been exempt. We've been getting rain, but again, it'll rain for 2 hours and then we're done. And then it'd be like, it rained. We cooled you down to 91, and now we're back at 98.
See, I can't do that. It was happening like that in the summertime where it was like first thing in the morning, it had rained and I was working outdoors all summer. And then by 11:30, 12 o'clock, I was like, oh, this is what a freaking seafood boil feel like because there's no reason for me to be this hot and wet at the same time.
And then, I was having a discussion today about the meteorologists. I hate them. Because stop being like, oh, it's 90 degrees. And then they be like, the real feel is 102. So then it's 102.
And it's 102.
If when I go outside, my skin feels like, a toasted walnut, then that's the temp. Listen, don't be lying to me oh, it's 90 degrees. It's not. Nah, it's 100 and whatever the real feel is, whatever my skin gonna feel like.
That's what I want to know.
Right.
And plus, you got to tell us how we should wear our hair. Is it a hair day? Is it a braid day? Is it a wrap day? Is it listen?
Florida's never a hair day.
The snatch bag.
Florida's a hair day in January for about 2 weeks, and that's it.
So January. So between MLK Day and the end of the.
Oh no, because Tima, I tell you, she thought I was lying when I was like, girl, it's gonna be hot as Hades in the daytime. And as soon as the sun drops, it's going to be freezing. And she was like, it don't get cold in Florida. Okay.
I was freezing for her birthday.
And people think it's a joke because on the temperature, it really be 50 degrees, 55. So they think it's not. But I'm telling people, 55 here feels like 30 up there.
Now, that doesn't make sense to me. Mm-hmm. That's like saying, what's heavier, a ton of pennies or a ton of feathers? It's still a ton. So 50 degrees should be 50 degrees.
It's not. It feels very different. Tima thought I was playing. And I was like, all right, you better pack a sweater dress. She was like, I'm going to pack my cute dress. And she was in them sweater dress and some tights and some boots. And was still talking about I need a coat.
And had a jacket. Mm-hmm. No, I really was. Yes.
I try to tell y'all.
You look cute.
Florida's different. I don't know what Florida's ecosystem is. Florida's ecosystem is jacked up. It's confused.
Yeah.
Listen, so the Queen Pen was over here talking about it took her 3 hours to get from the airport to her hotel. She had to go from LaGuardia to Midtown. She's like, it took 3 hours. That's because the UN is in session. And one of the things they're talking about is global warming and this weather. I don't know how they intend on fixing it, besides sitting around talking about it. But because unless
y'all got some needle and thread to sew up the hole. I don't know.
Right.
I was like, I don't think a needle and thread gonna sew up the hole. I don't think that's gonna work. It's not.
Because we could have a conversation about global warming,
and it don't mean nothing's gonna change. They need to have a conversation about this traffic. They need to have a conversation about these crazy Lyft drivers who don't care about putting both of our lives at risk. He had the nerve to ask me, "Are you afraid?" I said, "I am." So you wouldn't mind slowing down.
Terrified.
Well, because he must have seen me clutch the pearls because I was clutching, honey. I was like, oh.
Were you in the back seat pressing invisible brakes?
I really was. I was in the old shit bar. Y'all know the side. I was holding on to the old shit bar the whole time. Like, what was that? And so he was like,
I mean, you should be used to that though, because Atlanta is just as bad.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing about Atlanta Lyft drivers. They are in the traffic, but they still drive like they know there's traffic. Like he was driving like there's no traffic. I'm like, you do realize there's an entire car in front of us, right? So waiting to the last minute to brake is probably not the best decision.
Listen, he got to compete with yellow cabs and dollar vans. He got to compete.
I would have felt safe in a gypsy cab. I honestly feel like I just know gypsy cabs. I don't know these new Lyft people. I was just like, Lord,
I don't know where you got your certification. Okay?
I don't know who qualified you. Like, so yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That. So Tiff, you have something that you wanted to talk about before we get into the topic. Look, I ain't the host. Wait a minute. Let me sit down.
Wait. Sit. What we're about to talk about is my hair. Like, do y'all see?
Because you see the lips?
Do you see? Look at the
cute. Layers.
This is something new for the people. I ain't got no curls.
Come on, layers.
It's in person. I see it in person. It looks good. Look all healthy. She look like a Pantene commercial. Okay. She over here with the
you went to the Dominicans. That looked like a real Dominican person.
It is.
I know. You could tell.
And I'm gonna say she clipped my ends too. Cost me $40. I tipped her $50.
Listen, I'm telling you, there's nothing like a wash
blowout
from a Dominican. It's not. You're not getting it.
Why have scabs on my ears from that?
You might have third-degree burns on your scalp. However,
you're going to.
And I think I had whiplash because my head kept going like this.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
But you cute.
You right.
I sure am.
Come on. Flip it again one more time for the people.
One more for the people. Hey.
Behaving. Now, rain is coming this weekend, and my curls will return to their natural state.
If I went
into rapping,
I would be a whole mess.
Wrap it up.
Right. But you, Missy, you up here visiting, you on business, but you got some other stuff to talk about too.
Yeah. So I'm here on business for the Sisters in Sales Summit. Shout out to Chantel George and her entire amazing team putting together yet another dope conference. Can't wait to join them tomorrow. But I was outside this weekend, y'all. Because remember, I promised that I was going to do better at having a consistent social life, right? I got two babysitters now. So when one is not available, together.
Tag team.
It's called the backup. Okay, so the backup to the babysitter, I have both of them. And so Friday, I went on a date.
Yeah.
Saturday, I went to Midnight Market at Atlantic Station in Atlanta. They had like outdoor skating, vendors, food trucks. Shout out to Egg Roll Boys. I love y'all so much. And I pretty much just ate.
You just had to rub that in for me real quick.
So they had the bars set up, right? This one bartender, her line was longer than everybody's because she was making this mason jar drink called Life. I got my life. I went home. I was ready to paint the house. I was doing laundry that was already clean. Like I was so hyped from this drink called Life. I had like 3 of them. So by the time I got home, I was like, I need to do something. I was like, maybe I should paint the house, maybe a nice color in here. So shout out to her. I don't remember her name, but she was dope. And then on Sunday, I went to Ace Metaphor's Tonight's Conversation live.
Yes.
All I'm going to say is, Ace Metaphor, we belong on your panel. You need to bring some balance to your panel.
Somebody tag Ace in the comments so he can
let him know. Yeah, I went not this year, maybe 2 years ago.
Give us a shot.
When he came down here to Atlanta. To Fort Lauderdale. I went when he was in Miami. And his shows it's worth the ticket.
It was a vibe.
Listen, they're coming in, I think, November to New York, and all of the like general passes are already sold out. It's only like the VIP and the VVIP.
No,
tickets.
get the VIP. They're worth it.
Okay.
Trust.
All right.
Yeah.
So let me tell you, I
might have to sell a kidney.
No, it's okay. It's worth it because I have VIP, and the way they split the venue, all VIP and VVIP, we sit all the way to the front, so we are like at the live party. Everybody else in the back was watching this party. I said, "Oh, I'm glad I'm not sitting back there." because you don't get the same vibe that you get sitting by the stage. And when I tell you, the DJ was the main character. Can I just say that? He was the main character. He was playing the records for the aunties. We was having a whole 90s flashback party. It was so dope.
I'm sorry, I'm going to order my
go get your ticket. But what I loved the most was the different perspectives. And I love that he had the balance of the men and the women. Now, I'm not going to say who. There was some perspectives that I found to be a little bit city girl influenced. I didn't agree with a lot of what she had to say, but the crowd did. So it really just showed how many women really think along that line and who subscribe to that school of thought, which is their right. But there was another young lady on there, chocolate and gorgeous. I cannot remember her name, but I follow her on Instagram now as a result of the show. She provided such balance to her responses. And I was like, I love that. And then, of course, Trip, shout out to him. If he wasn't married, I would marry him.
He is the truth.
Let me tell you something, okay? He is so dope and so conscious and so like invested in community and family. And so he was my favorite the entire night. I wanted him to speak more, but that's how you know a man who moves in wisdom versus intellect or in superficial, trendy, cliche statements. Because he did more listening and observing and only spoke when he had something significant to say.
I like that.
Shout out to Trip. I so enjoyed the entire thing. Ace Metaphor is building an amazing community that's really going to help restore relationships. So that was my weekend. My weekend was cool, but that was my favorite part of the weekend. Like, I had such a good time at that event.
No, when I went, I loved it. So definitely, if you gotta go, I wanted to go this year when he came back down here, but I had a conflict, so I couldn't go. But his is definitely worth the support. Sidebar, you owe me some egg roll boys. So the next time I come to Atlanta, if I don't get no egg roll boys, you will never get banana pudding or banana pudding cake again in life. You will not get it again until I get my egg roll boys. I'm just saying, because I came to Atlanta. Listen, I spent every month of the first 6 months of 2023 in Atlanta.
You did.
Every month. I was there every month for the first 6 months of 2023. And I still have not. And you got banana pudding and banana pudding cake multiple times.
I did.
She made it for you, and you ain't trade no egg.
Because what happened was,
that's why she's sitting in the corner. You want me to have her turn and face the wall?
You know what I'm saying? So all I'm gonna say is
no. Because what happened?
No. Next time I come to Atlanta, you just need to have it in the car when you pick me up from the airport.
Okay. All of them? You want all of their flavors? Okay.
Nah, right. I'm gonna eat one bite of each and be done. So I'll let you know which flavors. Whatever that one, they got like a seafood one that got all the cake. Anyway,
girl,
shut up.
That's the one I had, and nope, I'm not gonna brag about it because I'm already in trouble. But yep.
So all I'm saying, I didn't get one. I ain't get to taste it. I don't even know what it looked like. Like nothing. I feel it's y'all, you be getting on me every time I come. I get there. When I get there, she be having the banana pudding ingredients lined up on the counter.
I really do.
Just there.
You are horrible.
I ain't got no egg roll boys yet. I'm waiting.
Okay, no, we gonna make that happen. I promise.
You know what? This is actually a good segue into tonight's conversation. Mother, may I speak?
Oh, but wait, we gotta do our sip and shine.
Oh wait, go back, rewind, select.
We gotta sip and shine. Wait, you didn't let me give my little combo and promo my event.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
You see what you did.
I'll make it quick. So if you're in the South Florida area, if you know people in the South Florida area, let them know they gotta pull up. MVP Management presents Beats and Brass. It's going down this Friday at the Bamboo Room. It has been in the works since like the end of last year. It will be a musical experience like you've never had. I promise you that. It's gonna be a party the entire night.
It's a party.
So if you want to find out more information, you can hop over to my Instagram, check that out. The link to get it's free before 10. So if you want to be cheap and not get it, just come before 10. You can be free. We still love it and support it. But yeah, come out. Like
conservative. If they gotta be fiscally conservative.
But definitely come out. I put a lot of work into it. I'm like anxious, I'm nervous, but I'm excited. I've already gotten a couple of inquiries just with the promo from other people that want me to bring it to their venue. So hopefully once it happens, it's great. So if you're here, pull up.
Yes. And when you're posted, you have to make sure that when they come over to Facebook that they're public. Because I went to go and share it and it wasn't public, so I couldn't share it.
Oh,
that's definitely like right up my alley because
I'm gonna make it public right now. You know what it is? Because my page is private. Because I had Instagram. Listen, I had Facebook stalkers. So my page used to be public.
You know I can't tag this one in Instagram post because of that.
Listen, it's just I had trolls.
I had a wild Instagram person tagging me and all kind of stuff, telling people I was his woman. I said, no, you can't tag me no more.
Listen,
tag this stuff. I wasn't even in the picture. It was him and another woman, but he was tagging me.
Maybe it was somebody uncle who didn't know how to use the tag feature.
No, he was younger than me. I was like, sir, no. So
listen, it's just real. And I had to like my page, professionally they say, as a business entrepreneur, your page should be public. And so it was. And so my Instagram page is now back to being public because that was private for a while too. But I haven't made my Facebook page public yet. Yeah. I'll pray on it. But I just went and made the post public so you can
Thank you. We will share.
Yes, I will share.
Yay. It's gonna be amazing.
All right. So it is now time for
Sip and Shine. All right. So tonight's Sip and Shine goes to the Queen, Miss Ava DuVernay, for making history this year as the first Black woman to air a film in Paris's film festival. Yes. And so the film is called Origin. And it received a 9-minute standing ovation. So first of all,
9 minutes.
9 minutes of, I don't know if I could stand there and clap for 9 minutes, but this movie had people in this film festival clapping for 9 minutes.
For 9 minutes.
And I just want to point out that Ms. DuVernay previously made history when she was the first Black woman to direct a film to be nominated for an Academy Award, and that was her movie Selma about the great MLK. So kudos to you, sis, because you are out there doing it, and I'm well aware that she doesn't like to be called auntie. So here's to you, Queen DuVernay. Keep up the good work. Keep trailblazing. Somewhere there is a young lady who is in film school here in NYU or wherever else they have film schools who is modeling you. You are her inspiration, and we greatly appreciate the work that you do.
Absolutely.
Yes, and kudos her because she's definitely, an inspiration for women, or especially women, but people who don't do things because people tell you that you can't or you shouldn't or you won't. Because so many people were telling her that, her if it won't get accepted, you shouldn't submit it, don't do it. And she was like, boo, screw to y'all.
I know that's right. I know.
So shout out for proving all the haters wrong.
Exactly. This has been the season of Black women proving they haters wrong. Like all of them, the faux friends we were talking about, and all those those front row haters, those people who be in the VIP seats. Like it has been a season for them to get their asses handed to them because they are out here growing and glowing, and we love it.
And what's
the Bible says,
like, aside from investing in proving someone wrong, they are investing in proving themselves right. Because sometimes I think that's our fight too, trusting our own instincts and trusting our own dreams and our own voices. Like that is what we write about. We write from our inner experiences. And so being able to see what that can manifest, that's amazing. And I'm inspired because y'all know I have a passion, or my new passion, because y'all know I got a new passion like every couple of months. I'm inspired. But to do this documentary, and so knowing that she's had this success, I'm like, maybe I can do this, and maybe I will. And
so it shall be.
And so it shall be. So congratulations.
If God gives you the vision, He'll give you the clientele
and the provision.
The provisions. Listen, He will make your enemies your footstool. So let them talk, because they're gonna be coming to you for a job.
True story.
I love that part.
Alrighty.
So yes, okay. Now we've covered all of the basics. I'm going to now step back into the moderator role for tonight's conversation, which is Mother, May I Speak?
That's loaded.
Girl, if it is not, y'all know I'll be coming through with the titles. People be like, what the hell she getting ready to talk about? Mother, May I Speak? We are talking about motherhood, the relationships between mother and children. And when I did the little blurb for the post for tonight's show, I was like, not everybody had that picturesque, mom from the sitcoms or whatever. Some people had some MOMsters, some real scary people. And because that was their experience, they are now parents themselves. And so now how they were mothered is now showing up in how they parent their children. So I wanted to talk about how do we get healthy relationships with our own children, possibly heal the relationships that we had with our mothers, and then break that cycle and then grow from there. So that's what we're talking about tonight. Mother, May I Speak?
That's good. That's so good.
This gonna be good. There gonna be some triggers in this. It's gonna be a lot. But
I think tonight I'm gonna say people might need some Kleenex. You might need some tissue. It is not ever our intention to traumatize or re-traumatize anyone, but I believe when it comes down to healing anything, you have to get to the root of it in order to fix it. Because if you just keep fixing the surface stuff, it just keeps growing back and spurting back. It's like weeds, unless you pull that weed out by the root, it's going to just keep coming back. And so the same thing happens with trauma. You have to get to the root of it. And unfortunately, it really seems like a lot of trauma comes out of childhood and definitely out of the relationships with our mothers. This week, I submitted my chapter for the next book, and I briefly, like literally in 2 lines, addressed the fact that a decision that my mother made when I was 14, 15 years old literally set the path of what our relationship is like to this day. One decision, because it really, in that point in time, it changed how I looked at my mother, which went from my mother being my mother to me looking at her, I should get my tissue, as a weak woman. And in my head, it planted the seed that I was never going to be a weak woman. I was never going to be a submissive woman. I was never going to be a woman who played the back.
Wow.
And it took, from that decision, it took 35 years of healing in order for us to really, get where we are now. And so we have a healthy relationship now. My mom is my rock. She has been with me through everything. But there were points in time where I looked at my mother and was like, Mommy, I don't want to be like you when I grow up.
Oh, wow. That's
I still feel like that.
Right. I struggle with that same sentiment. And one thing I just want to go back to, you talked about trauma and you used the metaphor, or was that analogy? Y'all know I don't know. I've been drinking. But you used the whatever.
Did I say like or as? Because that's when it's an analogy.
Okay, so it's a metaphor about the weeds and stuff. But one of the things that I read in this book years ago, because y'all know I'm an avid reader, love books. It's called Healed Without Scars, and he talks about that sometimes when we get cut, the first thing we do, that our inclination is to clean it, to put something on it, and then cover it and keep it covered. And that's the worst thing for healing, for trying to heal a scar or a cut. You're actually supposed to expose it and let it stay exposed, and then the natural environment and your body and all of those things will kick in and heal it. And I consider my emotional healing the same way. Like that's how we heal trauma, is by uncovering it and exposing it. not keeping it hidden, not keeping it, you know, buried family secrets and tea and all of those things, but actually uncovering it and having those difficult conversations, having those painful conversations to say, Mom, for most of my life, I didn't respect you. And my mom and I had that discussion not that long ago where I was like, I didn't respect you.
Ooh.
You were subservient and I thought you were weak. And I thought you forfeited your womanhood. And I thought your identity got lost in this man. And I hated you for it. Wow. Because my mother was an amazing, she still is, she's an amazing artist. She's so creative. She had all these dreams. She had her own career working at UNICEF. And then she got married to my stepfather and just was cooking all day and serving and doing laundry and packing lunches. And I'm like, what the are you doing? You know, so
who are you?
Who are you? And so I get, as what I wanted to say, I totally, and like you said, we're in a much better place now, but it took having that hard conversation.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Fortunately, I won't say I'm in a better place. I think I reached a point of just acceptance of like, you know what, it is what it is. You are who you are, and I now have to just accept that, but then realize that I can't subject myself to certain things where you're concerned anymore, because it does affect, you know, how I am with other people, how I am in situations. And so, you know, like to back up what you were saying, Tima, with the like the cut and the wound, it's like wounds heal from the inside out. So you have to go within. You got to start from the inside and figure that out, and then heal outwards. Like I can't try to heal me by trying to heal you first. Right. I gotta look within me and figure out what was it that you did or you said or that happened that caused me to have this reaction, and then figure that out for me. And then once I can figure out how to deal with that, then maybe I can figure out how to deal with you in the state that you're in, because I have to accept the fact that this is who you are. Right. You know, we try to address and say certain things. You've chosen to not make any changes, so I have to now decide to figure out how to handle you or how to deal with you in the state that you're in, without allowing it to affect my growth and my healing and my development. And so, that trauma run is. Trauma. We talk about daddy issues, but we don't really be talking about mommy issues a lot.
Well, see, let's pull up the first topic, the definition of motherhood. So, how do you define motherhood, Tima?
Oof. Okay, so my definition of motherhood is so different now. Being a mom, when I was being mothered, I thought a mother's role was to provide and to keep you from getting hurt, and pretty much just be a guardian. Right. I didn't really look at a mother as a parent. Right. Now, being a mother, I realize when there's the absence of masculine presence, my job as a mother is to be both energies for my children, to expose them to protector, provider, nurturer, and friend. And the reason I really want to take a moment just to focus on the friend piece is because I grew up hearing, I ain't one of your little friends.
What? Oh my God. I hated that.
And I realized how damaging that was, because it was difficult to then convert my relationship with my mother into friendship when I became a grown woman. Exactly. I didn't know how to be, because I was never one of your little friends. Whereas with my daughters, I'm like, no, I am your friend. I'm your first girlfriend. I'm your first. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? I want you to be my friend. Now, obviously, there are boundaries and I'm the authority in the relationship, but I want you to know that we are friends. I can be someone you confide in and that you lean on. I'm not just an authority in your life or a disciplinarian. I want you to come to me about the fun stuff and the good stuff and the exciting stuff, not just that I messed up, I did wrong. And so that was really a big part of motherhood for me, like showing my daughters, I'm nurturer, I'm provider, I'm the nurse, I'm the chef, I'm the sous chef, and I'm all of those things too, but I'm your friend, and I want them to understand that. So that's motherhood for me.
I agree. And that part about I'm not your little friend, I hated hearing that growing up too. And because I had my first child when I was 19 years old, and there were points in time in me rearing Indigo that she was my matter of fact, I wasn't necessarily her friend, she was mine. there was stuff that was going on in my life at times that got uploaded into her as a little girl that it shouldn't have. And where I was supposed to be protecting her from the world, she was protecting me. So yeah, all three of my daughters, I am their little friend. Yeah. Oh yes, I will hop into Jade's TikToks and her, be up all in her little friends conversation, like all that. I am their little friend. And the reason that this has worked for me is all three girls have been very comfortable in having difficult conversations with me.
I was just going to say that.
Because we created that bond. Now they know, like, sometimes we're going to tell mom something and her head going to pop off and she going to go Katie Kaboom on us and she going to be out. But when they feel that that's going to happen, they literally enter the conversation with, Mom, I need you to be my friend right now. Or, Mom, I need you to listen to what it is that I have to say before you say anything. I didn't feel that comfortable coming to my mother about certain things. That part. Because there was this great, like, I'm big, you little type of things. Like, I'm an adult, you're a teeny little nobody. And what I want to say is that because here in the Diamond Writers and part of our platform is about breaking cycles and healing from trauma, she was only doing what she was taught. I had a friend on Facebook today post something about teach your daughters not to do something pertaining to men, like to chase a man or be in a relationship with him for X amount of years, give your voice to. And what I said in the comment was, it's hard to teach something that you don't know. But what I can do with my daughters is try to break that cycle and heal together. So that's what motherhood is for me. Motherhood is a partnership between you and that child in order to get that child to adulthood. Because you can pour into them all you want, but no, they be blocking them blessings from you, and you gotta be like, let me love you and get you to your life.
Because they do what we do, not what we say do.
Absolutely.
They do exactly what we do.
Oh, I got 3 little mini-me's. What? Them attitudes is fierce.
Girl. Mini-me and mini-me the remix. And they are identical to who I am. And so I'm like, I can't even pop you because that's me. I got to do it myself. Tima, stop doing that now. Tell Maya, stop doing that, So.
Molly tells us all the time. He was like, see, that's you right there. No, that's you. I'm like,
first of all, didn't nobody ask you?
Didn't nobody ask you for the truth right now?
Nobody asked you.
Shoot, we ain't asked Mel to come through with some hurt. What about you, Mel? Like, Tima and I are moms and are on the motherhood journey. But that is not your particular story, but that doesn't mean you don't have experience with motherhood.
So I don't have children of my own. I did have a bonus child for 9 years. And then I have mothered several of my nieces and nephews, literally stepping into that role as parent and guardian sometimes. So I think everything that you guys said, nurturer, supporter. I think one thing for me as a mother too is educator.
Ooh, yeah.
And I think, and not educator as far as scholastics, but life educator. I feel like so many times when that disconnect in the relationship, you're not teaching your daughters, the fundamentals of womanhood and survival and success. And we don't present our daughters, or it's a job as a mother to present your daughters with the sky's the limit opportunities. Do you know what I mean? And teaching them that the fact that you're a woman, or the fact that you're a woman of color, or whatever, that doesn't limit or define you. And so even in things that we didn't have, I think that's our opportunity as mothers to teach our daughters the things we wish we had.
That they
You know what I'm saying? Because just because you didn't have it, you know what it's like not to have it.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what you wanted. And so that's an opportunity for us. So I think for me, it's you're as a mother, you're supposed to be a mentor. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to be, to some extent, the person that your daughter wants to grow up to be like. Not meaning that she has to be a cookie cutter version or a stepping stone of you, but what you present her with, what she's seen in you, should be attributes and characteristics that she wants to emulate.
Exactly.
So, but yes, even, I mean, and raising, you know, my bonus daughter and then even my niece and then her kids, it's difficult sometimes to, as you say, you know, give what you didn't have or find a way. And I feel like sometimes when you lack something that you didn't have as a child from your mother, you overcompensate for that.
Oh, I sure did.
Same.
With your kids. So sometimes we can be a little too open. We were so restricted. You know what I'm saying? And so sometimes you do have parents or mothers that open their kids up to certain things sooner than they should. Only because they felt like, well, I couldn't tell my mother anything. So now they overly expose, you know, their children to things, or are super, if you came from a really, really strict household, now you're super lenient.
What? These kids out here?
So, yeah, but I don't think motherhood is defined by birthing a child.
It definitely isn't.
I think motherhood is defined by the role that you take in that child's life and in their ultimate well-being, nourishment, success, and whatnot.
I love what you said a moment ago. You talked about our children don't have to necessarily emulate and be who we are, but there still should be a picture of what we see. And it made me think of, like, you know, we don't necessarily have to be the prototype, but we can be the blueprint, right? Yeah. When you have a prototype, it is rare that you can change it once it's set, but a blueprint, you can make some edits and some revisions. And so I love that. Like, that is such a great way to look at it. Like, yeah, I don't have to be their identical goal, but I can give them some vision and some image of what they could start. You know what I'm saying? Where they can start. That's super dope.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then Mel also said about, you know, you don't necessarily have to birth a child in order to be a mother.
Yeah.
God blessed me with 2 bonus sons that I did not birth, but you cannot tell me that those boys are not mine. And because they both have their biological mothers very much in their lives and a part of their rearing, for me, it was a matter of getting in where I fit in and figuring out where my lane was, which was between mom and dad. So it's like, here comes Fifi, here's Miss Tiffany, right here, like in the middle. And I definitely still am on them the same way I am with my girls. But the difference in that is that the way that I mother the boys, it's to be companions to the women that I'm raising, if that makes sense. Like, I'm trying to raise my daughters one way, and I'm trying to raise my sons another way, so that I can gift the world 5 children who would make compatible partners.
That part.
Absolutely.
So yeah, them boys get in there and they need to clean the toilet and wash the dishes.
Absolutely.
And the girls need to know their way around a toolbox and how to,
absolutely.
You know, we don't really do just specific. Yeah, we don't do that. Like,
my dad was the same way, and it benefited my sisters and I. And like you said, I said, I want my daughter's husbands to thank me.
Right.
I want them to be like, mother-in-law, mother in love, you did an amazing job.
Thank you for this.
Thank you for women that you know, So
absolutely. Yeah. I agree. I look at some, you know, y'all all know my niece. She's pretty much everywhere I go. She doesn't give me a break. But you know, both of her parents are very much, you know, alive and well or whatever, but for whatever, I'm not gonna put their business in the street. She just didn't get the nurturing that she needed. And so I found myself at like 15, 16 being a mom, teaching her basic fundamentals. And so now she jokes about it and she'll be like, oh, that's my mom. And so her kids kind of became, I kind of became grandma, but not really. I'm auntie still. Mm-hmm. But it's funny because they'll, like one time her son she was helping him with something and I guess she couldn't figure it out. He was like, they call me, so just so y'all know the joke. So my nieces and nephews call me Auntie Boo Boo. Long story. But anyway, she was teaching him, doing something with him, and he was just like, Mom, stop. Call Boo Boo. Like, he was just like, no. And so now he's 10 now, so he'll just call me for stuff, and then I'll talk to her and be like, oh yeah, he called me, and she'd be like, you called? And he'd be like, yeah. I knew you didn't know the answers. I called.
That'd be legend.
So that for me, says a lot for me. That just means that what I did in part, even though his mother is here and her, her daughter's mother still is here, that what I contributed was of value. Exactly. And I think that is, part of like what defines motherhood. It's that contribution that you made or the impact that you made on that child's life, whether you birth them or not, whether they're blood or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are like almost 45 minutes into this conversation. Let's hear from the people. What are they saying? I know they're in there.
Yes, they in here. Let's go see. Let's scroll. It's a lot of scrolling. So they was laughing at you earlier about Natima, Sheree clutching the pearls. Hey, sweet rights, our good Tiara. You got some love over here, Tiff. They loving. They say you looking cute.
Thank you. Thank you.
They looking cute over here.
Okay.
Let's see. We got Ivory. Ivory Ellison is in the building. Love. Yes.
Welcome in.
Welcome. Let's see what else we got in here. We got Jessica's in here. Jessica says healing out in the open.
Okay, come on, Jessica.
Absolutely. Come on, some more diamonds, Vanessa. I had to learn to forgive my parents. They were dealing with a lot.
That part.
Exactly.
Absolutely. We got a lot of tags going.
Thank you.
Get them in here. Get them in here.
Come on, Marlene, dropping some diamonds.
Thank you.
Come on, our gents. Rodney, Rodney said, "Mom is a rock of our family. She ain't perfect, but she's the best she could, she did the best she could in raising 8 children. Me and my mom have a great relationship now."
That's dope.
Thanks, Rod. Thank you.
Yeah.
It was so great to hear a man's perspective on the topic. We love having you here.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So we've been giving mom her flowers and everything like that, but there are other types of mothers. And on the flip side of that coin, we got the toxic moms, the
mommy dearest,
MOMsters.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah.
I'm
sad to say that I have one of those.
I'm sorry that's been your experience.
Yeah, seriously.
As Rod said, my relationship with my mother wasn't perfect, but I couldn't imagine not having a relationship with her.
Same.
But it has been my experience that I've had friends and other family members who were like, listen, mother or not, I had to cut the bitch off.
Yeah. And I mean, I haven't, there was a point where I had to do that. But I think in my own healing and discovery and growth, I realized that my mom got a lot of healing that she never did.
Mm-hmm.
She got a lot of things that she endured, went through, and dealt with that she didn't. Now I can excuse it then, but I think now that it's been brought to the table, and all of the grievances from all of her children have been presented, and there's still a sense of denial or refusal to accept. It's kind of like, okay, It's fine. Like this is who you want to be, and that's okay. It's not my assignment to change you. Right. However, I will not subject myself to the damaging effects of being front and center for your theatrical performance.
Yeah.
So I have a relationship with my mother. Like we speak, but unfortunately it's like I have to take her in doses. You know, I have to monitor my interactions, and I do that not necessarily because of her, but because it was shown to me and pointed out to me and then addressed with me both through people in my personal relationship and then in therapy, that because of how I have to interact with her, I carry those traits and characteristics into interaction with other people that don't necessarily warrant that type of reaction.
Wow.
And so I had to be like, I have to limit my contact with you because you're mentally, emotionally, and physically impacting every other relationship I have, friendship, business, personal, you know what I'm saying? Because of how I have to interact with you and because of the trauma that happened under your care, you know, it created a lot of question marks for a lot of things that translated, you know, from self-esteem to self-worth to, you know, image and just a lot of things that trickled out. And so it's sad, especially for me at this point. My mom is my only living parent. And to not have that relationship where when I need a parent, I can really, you know, rely or lean in on her. You know, there's certain things, but I have to be very cautious of what I discuss and what I say and how I say it and when. And so it's not always comfortable. So it's normally just, you know, very superficial. It's like, oh, you know, how's everything is great, everything's good. You know, I can't give too much. So yeah, so it's rough sometimes, like with my mom, and it's sad because I see, you know, people that do have great relationships with their mom and do stuff, and I want that, and I've tried, but I think at this point I've accepted that it is what it is. I'll be the daughter, you know what I'm saying? I love her. She's my mother. She gave me life. You know, she did what she could. I mean, I'm still here. You know what I mean? And so, what'd you say?
I was reminding myself I have a comment for something you
we
said.
We need to keep them diamond open so we can be like and refer back to
right. But yes, I mean, I've accepted it, and I'm, you know, it is what it is. But you know, it does suck sometimes to know that was my experience, and it didn't necessarily have to be. But you know, I think I've gotten to a point in life too where you realize that everything in your life you go through and you survive, you're meant to learn from. And so I went through it. It was difficult. It was tough. It caused some wounds and some scars, but I came through the other side. So now it's, what did I learn from that? And then how do I become different in my motherly relationships with the children in my life? So how do I make sure that I don't pass on those toxic traits and exhibit those same toxic behaviors to them? Because now I'm aware that that's not healthy. Because there was a point when you thought that was normal.
You know, that is the crazy thing when it comes down to trauma. And then especially when it's something that is like widespread, that because everybody is going through it, it's normal. But that doesn't mean it's not trauma. That doesn't mean that it's not effed up. So what? Everybody is going through this struggle. It's not supposed to be this difficult. It's not supposed to be this hard or this painful. You know, so I hate when people be like, oh, and I'm gonna admit, like I used to operate from that mindset, like, oh, you know, particularly when it came down to like Indigo and like, oh, you can't go out this weekend because I have to work and you have to watch your little siblings. She should be like, but Mom, and I'm like, listen, you're not doing anything any other. And that's one of the things like we had to work on fixing it, because just because every other family for generations and upon generations, the older sister had to step into the role and be the second mother doesn't mean that was the thing to do. It was actually not.
Exactly.
It just easiest thing to do.
Yep.
You said there was something that you wanted to.
Yeah, I don't remember that, but you just said something that made me think that made me think of something else. And what I wanted to offer those who are with us live and those who are going to watch the replay is sometimes we'll give ourselves a pass as mothers because our toxic traits or our examples of toxicity doesn't show up in abuse or manipulation or neglect. But there are still areas that we can be toxic toward our children. Our emotional unintelligence is extremely toxic. And I had to learn the hard way with how I mother Amaya. I see these moms create these Instagram pages for their children, and they're defining who their kids are before they even get a chance to explore who they are.
Yeah.
Already made your child this Instagram personality and persona because that's what you want for them, or really what you want for yourself. So by the time the child says, no, I actually don't want to do that, you're then mad at them because they don't want that life. And I see it so much, especially Mel touched on it earlier. Being self-aware as a parent is the greatest thing we can do in terms of nurture and really raising our children, not just bringing them up, because there's a difference in just upbringing and raising. Raising means intentional investment, intentional engagement, intentional outpouring of love, patience, time. One of the things I remember telling Amaya's father, who is no secret, everyone knows he's absent in her life, I told him she doesn't want your presence, your stuff, your tangible. She wants your presence.
Yep.
That means the most to her because that's the type of child she is. And so even that, parents who are overworking to get their kids, the latest sneakers, the latest PlayStation, they don't need all of that.
Yeah.
Time with you is the greatest thing you can offer and give them. And to me, that is toxic when you don't recognize the needs of your children because you want to be able to say, I did these things for my kids versus I did these things for my kids.
Right.
Meaning I sacrificed what I wanted so that they could have certain things versus I got them a bunch of stuff. I remember I used to run a teen mentor program in Anne Arundel County. Shout out to that school district. I used to go in and talk at these different schools. And I would pour into the little girls, pour. And I'd be exhausted at the end of the week. And then the next week they come back the same way or worse. I'm like, what am I ineffective? And then meeting with the parents, I invited the mothers. I said, oh, this is the issue.
Is you bitch.
I'm pouring and nurturing and mentoring. And then they go home and their toxic mothers are undoing everything that I've done. And so that's why, for those of you who don't know, that's why I switched gears and now have the Diamond Riders, because if I could get the mothers healed, little girls before they need to be healed.
Exactly.
We can catch them before they go through these same cycles and these generational patterns that their mothers are, bound by. And so that for me is toxic parents. It's not always abuse or drug addiction or alcohol abuse no, sometimes it's just you're selfish and you can't ask what you wanted out of life to really meet the needs of your children. And that's what I wanted to offer for some of you who may be like, oh, I'm a great mom. And I'm not trying to tell you you're not, but really be self-aware and examine, do I spend time talking to my children? Do I talk to them or at them? Am I listening? And that's one thing I had to learn. Like my youngest is a chatterbox. And I realized I wasn't ever listening to her because I would repeat the same thing later.
You can hear her, but you weren't listening.
But I wasn't listening. Now I'm listening because I didn't like being ignored. And so it's like, hello, there's that generational pattern. You have to create it. Stop, So yeah.
You touched base on something just now, and I'm glad it's still in my head. It made me think of the movie Precious with Monique and Cabaret, where the mother almost hated the child because, and I'm coming for a specific demographic, and I live in this demographic. When you are a young mother and you have children, you sacrifice what path you were on to have this life and raise this child. A child who every child first argument is I ain't asked to be born.
I ain't asked to be here.
Right.
You decided to have me. Like, regardless of what the situation, the circumstances are, whether it was SA or you were out there being fresh and fancy, you were doing whatever it was that you were doing, a life was created. And this is why it's very important that we go out and vote, because we saw what happened, but that's not this show.
Next one.
Another show.
A life came and you were now responsible for this life, and it deviated you off of your path. And so now there's two ways that deviation shows up. It either shows up in a MOMster type of situation where you hate this child.
That resentment.
You literally, you sit there, you talk dirt and filth and negative energy into this child, and they want to know why they are batshit crazy and hella bad. Or you're like, okay, I'm just going to live vicariously through this little person, and you create this. And these children, before they can develop their own personality and figure out who it is that they want to be, they have literally been made in your likeness. And now they don't know who the hell they are, because you never gave them an opportunity to say, I like Sprite over 7-Up. I like Coke over Pepsi. Matter of fact, I don't like none of that. I like water. Because you forced something on them that they didn't, and then they don't even know. And then you get mad when they seem ungrateful. You know, when you buy the newest Jordans, the re-release Jordans over and over again, yes, 92s and the iPhone 67s and all these other things here. And then the first time you tell them no, you can't or won't do something for them, now they in there having temper tantrums, breaking shit. Who created now a monster? So
that's so good.
Yeah, I got, like what you said, Tiff, when you was about like the resentment thing, it made me think. And I remember with my bonus daughter, so she was a product of infidelity in my relationship. And so I remember when she first came to live with us, it was like I had to catch myself in moments of taking out the anger of how she was created on her. And it was like she had nothing to do with that. Like she wasn't, a part of that, but she was the reminder. But I had to, check things that I went through and realize, it's not her fault. And even more so, it's not her fault. She now has a mother who was aware of this and decided to be a part of this infidelity situation, who now is not present. So now it's like, do I double damage her? And then I think to something we talked about earlier, but about motherhood, I think another thing that as mothers we have to also be conscious of is making the hard choices. And so even with that, as she wasn't my biological child, but I raised her for all those years. When it came time for me to leave my marriage, I stayed longer than I knew I needed to, because I was concerned for her. And I was like, well, does she lose another mother now? Like, now her biological is not really present in here. Do I then now walk away from this and uproot her from pretty much the only life she's known since she was like 2? But then I had to get to a point where I was like, but I could stay. But I think I reached a point where I was like, but what am I teaching her? Because she sees all of her father's antics. She sees all that's happening. So I'm like, if I stay, am I now teaching her that this behavior is okay? And so although I felt like I would hurt her in one way by ripping her out of that life, I had to decide that what was a bigger save. And it was like, do I hurt her now for a little bit in having her basically leave? Because when I told her, I remember we were leaving, she like broke down. Her father's sitting right there. She like clinged to me and she was like, I don't want to leave. And I'm just like, but that's your dad. But she was like, no, but you're my mom, But it was like, if I stay here, you're going to be up for a whole lot more world of hurt later, because you're going to think that this is what relationships should look like. You're going to think that this is how you should be treated. This is how you're going to think that a man should should be with you. And that's going to hurt you way longer in the long run. And so sometimes we have to, as parents, and especially as mothers, you got to make that hard decision. Like you got to be like, am I going to hurt my child's feelings now to save them a world of hurt later? Or do I pacify their feelings in the moment and then have them set up for hurt that they may not recover from later on in life?
Yeah, that's a tricky one, because the truth of the matter is, they say like women look for men who remind them of their fathers, men and women look like, and men look for women who remind them of their mothers. So either way, the seed that has already been planted in her head, at least from her father's, from her father, is that this is how a man treats a woman. What you taught her is that if a man so chooses to treat you this way, these are what your options are. So she already has the lesson, like, there are some men that are not going to do right by you, but taught her how to navigate those options. So kudos to you for making the tough choices and decisions on that.
Even that is so key, when we make room for our children to make mistakes and provide psychological safety for them to make mistakes, right? Like, I always tell my daughters, I'd rather your feelings be hurt than your spirit be broken.
Wow.
Because some life experiences
that needs to be on. Mel, write that down. That needs to go on a shirt, a bag, a journal cover, something.
It's actually a chapter, our upcoming book. Okay, sorry.
one of the diamonds that's in here. Drop it in the group chat.
But it's actually in the chapter in the book that we're working on now. I share that how me going through my own breakup and that savage healing journey I was in, it showed me how significant it is to give my children the room to make mistakes, because I was living a life of perfectionism that was killing me. It was destroying me. All the creative things about me had been moved to the side to focus on perfectionism. And all the things where I was just able to, live free and liberated was replaced with perfectionism. And I was like, I hate this life. And I realized my spirit was broken. And I don't want that for them, because hurt feelings can be mended. Broken spirits can lead to so much life damage and poor choices. And so when I'm talking to them, I'm like, my daughter's like, oh, my oldest is 15. And she's like, oh, I only got a C on my paper and I worked so hard. I said, was that C your best? Was that your best? And she's like, yeah, I did my best. That is damn good.
That's that hard C that they were talking about in different words. Was it an easy A or a hard C? I will take a hard C anytime.
And that's what I told her. I said, I'm proud of you. As if, you know what I'm saying? Like that. And that's my parenting style has become so much more relaxed and humane, and has become so full of grace because of what broke me and what I went through. And I'm like, I will never allow my babies to feel this way. And so Amaya is in cheerleading and karate because she wants to be. If she doesn't want to be, all right, let's just finish the season and then we move on to the next. My oldest daughter, Araya, has done about 20 things. My child has been in karate, dance, gymnastics, football, basketball. Yes, she had played football. She played flag football. She plays football. She played. And my ex-husband and I pay for all of it because it's about her exploring what she wants to do versus what we think she's talented in. And again, that side of my parenting has emerged because of brokenness. And I'm like, I don't want my babies to ever feel this. We can't shield them from everything, but we should not be the contributors of lifelong pain. No. We should not be the ones who inflict and, you know what I'm saying, and put that on them. And so that's something else I wanted to add based on something you said. Sorry, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent, but
go off.
So, yeah. Because I know we still got more to do and we already over the hour. So
right. I guess you want to hop in some comments real quick?
Go into the comments.
Let's see. Hey, it's our sis Colleen. I am my mother's daughter, but I am not my mother. Breaking generational toxicity is essential to heal. It's okay. Hold your mother responsible for things that may not have worked out for their children, but children's benefit emotionally and mentally, etc. Absolutely. You can be your mother's daughter, but you don't have to be your mother. Absolutely. Oh, let me put that right there. See. when the Patrick Ewings were re-released, I wanted to buy it for my son so bad. I remember many days going to VIM to try them on. Absolutely. Listen.
For real.
You should have just went and got them when they came out for yourself.
Yeah.
Period.
That's right. We get so caught up sometimes in being mothers that we forget. Like, it's okay to be like, there's some people who be like, I do everything for my children. I will not. I do a lot for my children, but I will not do everything, because my goal is to get these 5 little individuals to be functioning humans and members of society, and they leave. And so I still want a piece of they're gone.
Yep.
So I'm not giving everything to them. A little bad for me.
Right.
And you could come for me in the comments and we could chat about it if you agree, if you disagree, because we're going to respectfully agree to disagree. But you can state your case if you believe that it is your job to give everything to your children.
I don't.
No,
y'all are.
It is your job to give your child every essential.
That, you know what's been, see, it's a scene from the movie Fences with Denzel Washington, him and the son in the front yard, and he's like, Dad, I feel like you didn't like me. He's like, it's not my job to like you. Like, I disagree on that part, but the point was, I gave you a roof over your head and food in your belly, and I taught you these things. Like, yes, we give the essentials, the essentials of the bare minimum of parents. Like,
absolutely.
That's the meat and the potatoes, but you still need the other things when it comes down to parenting. And
absolutely.
But that still doesn't mean deplete yourself to parent.
Exactly. Right. That's the difference. Don't pour so much into these children that you have nothing left when they leave home. And I remember my ex-husband and his wife told me that when you become a parent, you choose their life over yours. I said, who the hell taught you that toxic doctrine? That is from the pits of hell. It's in that bag. That's the devil. No,
happy children are products of happy parents.
That's why I said, because one of the things that I'm big on is, again, teaching my girls balance. They need to see me enjoying my life. They need to see me going out so that they know it's okay to do that. I don't want them growing up thinking, oh, once I get a husband and children, that's my whole life. Hell no, that ain't my identity. I'm Natima Sheree before I'm anything. Mommy and HR executive, all of them titles come after. But y'all know I'm Natima Sheree first. That is who I am first, the woman. Every other title comes behind my name. Your identity is who you are. All those titles are compliments to who you are. I wish I would give up my whole life to raise some kids. Bye.
Right. Like, of course, parenting being a mother comes with some sacrifice.
Right.
So there's I think it's with anything else, there's a time and a place. There's times when you are going to have to sacrifice something of your own for your children. But there are times when you have to tell your kids no, because mommy gotta, and they gotta be okay. Because again, like you said, at some point in their life, hopefully, they're gonna leave.
Well, they are, yeah.
Listen, they ain't got to, but I will.
Out. Changing the life.
They're gonna go on and have a whole life of their own.
And real quick, I want to throw that out there too, because that's toxic motherhood too. Putting your babies out at 18. Don't do that, because 18 is still a teen. Now, if they ready to go, let them go. Because I was ready to go at 18. No, I wasn't. Let me not even lie. I wasn't ready, but Angie put me out anyway. But no, seriously, because I recognize that a lot of people will put their kids out at 18, but didn't prepare them. You didn't prepare them to be on their own. So why are you making them move out? So that's another toxic trait we need to kill in our community. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
We're gonna do a whole show around that one, parenting, like the different styles and stuff.
The do's and don'ts.
The do's and don'ts, because that's not just a mothering thing. You know, that's a two parent. That's both of them there. But we got to move into this third topic, this third area. The champion moms. It's time for Mother's Day. Yes. So we've talked about, you know, those great moms and the characteristics of a good mom. We've talked about those momsters and those horrible mothers. It is really time to just celebrate being a mom. And I want to ask you, Natima, what do you like the most about being a mom?
Oh, Lord. What do I like the most? So many things. No, what do I like the most? I think what I love the most about motherhood is being responsible for two people who are going to like give their light to others. Like that's huge for me. Being a creative, being a woman who is self-aware and who understands her gifts, being able to help pull that out of my girls, like watching what makes them smile and then creating more opportunities for them to do that. That is my favorite thing about motherhood. Like, Amaya and I were talking yesterday about, I forgot what the subject started as, but we ended the conversation on how she wants to dress herself. Because my dad is there watching her. Shout out to my father. Thank you for watching my child. And she said, I don't want him picking out my stuff. I can hear her, mommy. No, she said no. She said, because I want to pick out my stuff so that I can show you that I've been paying attention to what you pick out for me. And that was such a huge thing for me, because I know I didn't get my mother's artistic, mind. I didn't get my father's, musical genius, where I feel like my art shows up is in the way that I dress.
You are very fashionable.
Thank you. Okay. So she wants to, have that quality. And it gave me this pride, like, of course you can dress yourself. Okay. Like, I'm so excited that's how you want to show up for yourself. And so just creating opportunities for my girls to be themselves. Yes. Right. It's the most amazing thing to witness. Like, my baby knows who she is, and she's 7. She knows who she's gonna be in life. She's only 7.
You know that mean when she pick out an outfit next week and it's stripes and polka dots with
and I'm gonna let her go.
You gotta let her go.
Because real quick, if y'all remember, I used to let Araya dress herself. Araya used to have all 4 seasons on, and I took her to school. Okay, we had rain boots, a tutu, and a sweatshirt one day, and I was like, "And let's go." And it was 86 degrees outside. I was like, "And let's go," because
she better work.
Right. No, but that's what I love about being a mom, is seeing my girls see themselves and love who they see.
That's beautiful.
That's the best thing ever.
Ooh, Mel, for you, what is a champion mom? What is a good thing or a great thing you love the most about being a mother figure?
I think it's just, it's that silent thank you. It's the things that you did that to you were like small, but meant so much to them. And you probably forgot about it. And then at the most random moment, they'll be like, remember when you did this and you did this for me? And you're like, you over here like, I did, why not do that? But it was just the smallest thing that meant so much to them. And so, and just knowing how they see you. So like every time my goddaughters call me because they need help with a project, you know what I mean? It's like clearly they see me in what I'm doing in my profession, and they're like, oh, well, if I want to be good on this, I'm gonna call my auntie Mel because she got me. Or like I said earlier with my nephew, he's just like, yeah, I don't want you to, I'm gonna go. And so it makes you feel proud that one, you're setting that example and you're showing them, and then that they're seeing it. And so even though you're out here hustling and grinding and working, that they see that in you, and they want your help, or they want to emulate you to some extent, or they want your opinion, says a lot. So I think for me, that's like that. It's that unspoken thank you that you get from the things that you do and the impact that you have in their life and how they view you. And even like with my bonus daughter, she'll still call me or text me, every now and again. Like I had to kind of distance myself a little bit, but just the fact that it's been 7 years since that separation, and she's back with her biological mother and all, what I'm saying, but she still hasn't forgotten. And she'll call me and be like, remember when you used to take me to Girl Scouts, or remember when you took me to dance class, or remember when you used to dress me up in these, like, what I'm saying, these things, they left a lasting impression on her. And so for me, that's what matters, so it's that the impression that you left was a good one. It's not the, oh, remember when you did this and you did that and you did
Yeah.
So
that's beautiful, Mel. I think for me, what I enjoy the most about being a mom, I've got 3.5 of them, 28, 22, 21,
Right.
at those big ages and as grown as they think they are, they know that I am a safe space to come back to recalibrate and reset, like to come back and be like, I just need some place I need some place to come back and feel like I'm going to get good advice. I'm going to get the nourishment, whether it's actually like food nourishment or it's words of wisdom. I like that they come back and they're able to ask advice about like a journey that they're on or something, that they have to make a decision about. And they do it because they want to, not because they're programmed to, but because they value what it is that my husband and I can provide for them. So the fact that these young adults are like, we got them to this 18, this 21, and we gave them the keys. They still want us as their co-pilots.
I love that.
Absolutely. That's amazing.
I love that.
Yeah. I just want to shout out for champion moms. I want to shout out society for finally championing moms.
Yes.
I think for so long it was like the unappreciated job.
Ooh, it really was.
That's what you're supposed to do. And there was no real recognition for the work that goes into being a mother. And even establishing or accepting the fact that motherhood is not, as you were saying earlier, Tima, motherhood is not the end of every other aspect of your life. And I just love seeing now that professional women are being celebrated in their motherhood and in their pregnancy. You see a lot of celebrities and movies that are pregnant, and it's like
Rihanna on that Super Bowl field with that belly dancing.
Okay. But her, Sierra, it's tons, even actors, actresses, and just regular everyday business professionals. Even in the workplace now, you have workplaces that have now, you have lactation rooms, and you have things that are now embracing the fact that women can be mothers and still women and do what they have to do. When years ago, that wasn't the thing.
That
was not the thing. It was like, oh, well, if you a singer or actor, it was like, hide it. They used to make them band their belly or wear big clothes, and they wanted to hide it
because behind counters and pocketbooks.
Right. Because they made it was like, it made it seem like it was a stigma or something bad about that, or that it would tarnish your image or your career. And I'm like, but why? It is the most amazing job.
And the most
you can, huh?
And the most natural.
And the most natural.
Like none of us would be here without motherhood. Like
none of us. So I'm just grateful that I'm thankful that it's at a point now where it is being highlighted and celebrated rather than
motherhood and womanhood.
Yeah, no, that's a champion for moms, because I feel like for so many years it was like you had to be one or the other. It was like, do I want to be a professional or a mom? Do I want to be a woman or do I want to be a mother? Do I want to whatever it was always an either or. It was never I can do both and be successful at both. And if you were, you had to hide it.
Look at you over here. See, y'all always do this. Y'all be dropping the gems before we get into the gem drop.
I know.
No, that was a shout out. That was a thank you. That was a big
shout out, man. Y'all better get the tissues ready, because she gonna blow your minds with this is a gem. Was there anything in the comments before we go? I know these people
let's see.
Right, not the whole hour and a half.
Sierra says, watching my children navigate through life is my favorite part of parenting.
Yes.
Come on, yes.
Shout out to them boys.
Yeah, Marlene said, get it, ladies.
Yes, Mark.
Come on, yeah. We appreciate y'all. Y'all hung with us. Most of our viewers from the beginning to the end are still here. So y'all hung with us today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we're getting ready to wrap it up, y'all. It is time for This is a Gem.
Ew. I'm late on my thing. My bad.
It's okay. All right,
There you go. There you go.
Here's
It didn't want to click. I was clicking it and it wouldn't click.
Right.
I'm like, click, darn it.
Right.
Technology.
All right. Who want to kick it off? Queen.
All right.
Go ahead.
So funny enough, what I want to say is contrary to some of the other things that I've said, or I can't say it's contrary, but not contradictory. What I want to say to mothers and those who are not yet mothers, those who are mother figures, if you have a unhealthy relationship or had an unhealthy relationship with your mom, I encourage you to extend grace and compassion. One of the things that Mel alluded to earlier that I really wanted to unpack a little bit more, but I just didn't feel led at the time, but I am now, is many of our parents don't realize that they're passing on broken pieces because they've been raised to survive. They've been raised to live a certain way and were never encouraged to think beyond what they were exposed to. And so you might have more liberated thinking. You may be exposed to more in life, but don't dilute and discount what your mom did, because all mothers have made some type of sacrifice. And so just be considerate and mindful of that. A lot of the healing that has taken place in my relationship with my mother has been because of me and my choice to view her differently. You know, now being a mom, being a woman, having made some poor decisions concerning my own children, it makes me that much more sensitive to her. Like, you know what? You're human too. And you were trying to figure it out just the same way I'm trying to figure it out. And sometimes I think we forget that our parents was in their 20s and 30s when they had us. Did you have it all together? I'm 40 and still trying to figure it out. Okay. So give your moms and your dads, but give your moms grace, give them compassion. And the last thing I feel led to say, call your mothers. You know, like I love my mama. She'll sit on the phone and talk about different types of cheese she got at the dairy, at the deli, and all kinds of stuff that don't matter. But knowing that her daughter's on the phone with her, it means the world. And so give your mom 10, 15 minutes a day, talk to her, check on her, love on her, because you'll be surprised how much that expression of love will help her to heal. Yeah. And so that's my gem for the night. That's what I want to share.
Oh, cut clear.
Okay.
What about you?
I think my gem for the people is, regardless of how you fall into the realm of motherhood, whether it's you birthed a child, you bonus got a child, you a godmama, a auntie, what church mother, whatever your motherly role is, just understand that unlike every other job on the planet, motherhood does not have an instruction manual. It does not have a rule book. And it does not have a one set way of doing anything. So regardless of what your parenting style is, just make sure that at the end of the day, you're leaving a positive impact on that little person that you are contributing to their life.
Yeah.
And show yourself grace. Not just them, be graceful with yourself and understand that nowhere does it say that parents have to be perfect. Nope. Nowhere does it say that role models or mother figures have to be perfect. It's okay to make mistakes. You know, it makes you human. But make sure that when you make those mistakes, you acknowledge them and then do what you need to do to rectify them.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Wow. Girl. When I get my little thingy set up, be dropping them bombs. All right. My gem for this evening is that regardless of whether you have or have had a picture perfect relationship with your mother, or it has been a horrible experience, there's always room to grow and heal. And when it comes down to those relationships with those mothers that you have to love from afar, be kind. Like kindness. Like I know she may have said some hurtful and she's done some harmful things to you, but what you give back to the world does not have to be the tainted poison that she put into you. So be kind.
That's good.
Be kind regardless of what kind of parent. And remember that when you're the parent yourself, to be kind to yourself and release the judgment and the perfection of parenting, because the truth of the matter is all of those perfect moms that we saw on TV, people sat down in a writer's room and created her.
Exactly.
Your mom wasn't, your mom or you as a mom were not created by staff writers.
True story.
Mom drop.
That's good. That's good.
Mom drop.
So this has been another episode of the Hustle and Shine podcast. I've been the one true Phoenix. And
I'm the Queen Pin.
And I'm your girl Melvie, the MV Pin.
And until next week when we see you, just remember to always
hustle
and shine. Be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe.
Hit the bell.
Right. Yeah.
See y'all next week.
And
let's go.